Zeus.
I sit upon the tip of Mount Othrys. I have met with Hades and received his dire demand, for someone had stolen souls from his realm. They had brought the dead back to life, a crime that he could not let go unpunished, and he demanded the ultimate sanction. Or he would wage war on every living soul, myself first and foremost. His ultimatum delivered, Hades has taken his court back to the underworld. Poseidon departs with a chortle and a wink. He enjoys this too much. He sees my anguish and crows over it. Little does Poseidon know, does he understand, that at that very moment I began to hate him. I shall have to watch that I do not ever let this become obvious. But now I sit amidst the storms I have summoned. I did not do this thing on purpose, not with my head or my aura, but with my heart. I sit with my head in my hands as the rain comes down on me. He is my grandson, Asclepius, the unlucky, the motherless, son of my son Apollo. He was but a babe when his mother, Coronis, was tired of the loneliness. She was raising the son of a god, Asclepius, but his father no longer doted on her. Alone, she had to weather the antics of a baby with the power of the ages, the might of his blood, and he was never there. Apollo, my son, he was not a father to his own son. He was not a husband to Coronis. So, in her loneliness, she turned to a man who helped her, and who then wooed her. Ischys was his name. Was, for Apollo saw with his scrying foretelling eye what they did. Only when he had been done wrong did Apollo suddenly see the truth with his inner eye, and he slew Ischys in front of Coronis. But worse was to come from his twin. For Artemis saw how Coronis did sacredly weep for this Ischys, and one day, when Coronis was alone by the river, away from Apollo and her son, Artemis witnessed the weeping of Coronis, and in her mind this was another betrayal, or a continuation of the first. For Coronis loved this man, and not her brother Apollo. So Artemis shot her. She took a life with slaying arrow, and this left Asclepius tantamount to alone. Apollo is many things, but a good father is not one of them. He taught the boy his healing arts, but he was never there long enough to give true care for the child, my grandson. And so, finally, I arranged a discourse with Apollo, and we agreed upon a kindness. I instructed Apollo to take the boy to be trained by Chiron, and so he was. Asclepius, like Astræus, his half-brother, was to be looked after by the wise centaur Chiron, and he was made to be a fine man, a healer even more potent than his sire, but one who gave with open hands. While his father skirted my rules at court ever as much as his siblings, Asclepius actually walked from city to city, healing the sick, curing the lame. I was so proud. But I am king. I have duties. I did not see. I did not watch him. I was not diligent enough. I did not know what he had achieved, did not see what he would continue to do. to raise the dead. For I had made this world too tame. In resisting the urge to become like my line, my father and his, I have made the universe too kind. Our children were raised with a dimming fire still warming the universe. They could almost feel the consequences of the first war, and we drummed it into them. But Asclepius is a child of another generation. He does not know of the horror of a war of the gods. He does not hear the din of it in his ears when the world is quiet. He did not see the rivers of blood shed, the mountains thrown like stones, the skies and plains burning with bolt and flame, when the gods go to war. Nor did he witness the punishment of Prometheus, and so he does not fear me. The elders do, those who have witnessed my ire, but not the next generation. None of them truly fear me. I have failed them. And I know, no matter what I say to Asclepius, no matter what I do, there will be a continuance of this sin. Asclepius is a kind and gentle soul. Even if he gave his word, even if I did gain such oaths from him, when he witnesses a child breathing their last, when he sees a mother passing in childbirth, when he looks upon a man of worth who supports many beyond even his own family, when taken too early, he will not stop being who he is. He cannot stop being who he is. This oath would destroy his soul as surely as a death sentence to his body. Just slower, more agonizing, more cruel. And I weep. I cannot see another path. I cannot see it, because it does not exist. I know what I must do. It is all that I can do. It is all that can be done. I cannot see another way. So, it is time. I stand. The rain washes away my tears. I take to the skies and wing my way to my home, Mount Olympus, to her, the only one who can know, the only one who might think of another way. I fly back as an eagle, landing on the windowsill. I transform back to my godly raiment. She is there, waiting for me. She has not slept. Why would she on this night? She frowns in concern. She sees my countenance. She stands and comes to me. I enfold her in my arms.
Hades, what quarrel does he have with you?
I feel her warmth before it vanishes. I smell her hair, as this may be my last chance. For after tonight, I do not know if she will ever be mine again. I now do a terrible thing. I share with her the words of Hades and their cause, that he has asked for the end of my grandson, Asclepius. Though Hera is not directly related, still, she is Hera. She is my wife. And despite her tantrums and preening in revenge for my dalliances, she is the goddess of the mother in birth. She is the goddess of the family. She can be cruel, but only to those who draw her ire. And she has always loved me, always been kind to those born before our wedding vows. And she loves Asclepius, ever as much as even her own grandmother, Leto. So, I let her go, and we sit together, facing one another as the dawn rises, and I tell her all. I hold nothing back.
I take his confession. Why must he do this thing? And I agree, he must. But I will not make it easy for him. He has had a smooth ride recently. Hades and Poseidon have always kept him honest. The threat of one, the support of the other. Zeus must be better than Poseidon, more powerful than Hades, or he will be dethroned, and pandemonium will be unleashed. This threat from Hades cannot be left unchecked, his demands left unmet. For none realize the danger, none realize the carnage his mere presence prevents. Zeus has been too level, too kind and good a king. The world does not remember the savagery. They do not recall the pain unleashed. We can never allow this to happen again. He must become more stern, more fickle, so they know of the threat he personifies, the horror he prevents by maintaining our pacts, the peace of Zeus and Hera, the rule of the Olympians. There must be war. There must be suffering. He must let Ares go down there and ply his trade. He must rescind his greatest control to maintain our monarchy and realm. I am both blessed and cursed by hearing the monologue of Zeus as king and grandfather, but most of all, as husband. We discussed much before, even in the first war, the Titanomachy. But this, it has been too long. It has never been this deep before. He is broken. But I must put him back together. I must share in this evil. It is too much for him to bear alone. And though I love him dearly, he makes me complicit in the crime. A thing that must be done. But he will not do it alone. He cannot. And I know he asks my permission, because I know him. And he would rather see the universe ablaze than see hatred in my eyes. He asks if I can forgive him. He will not do this thing unless I agree. With his logic, with his evaluation, with his cause. And by sticks, I give it. I may end up hating him for this, or hating us both. I do not know yet. Only time will tell, but I give it. I cannot see another way. Because if he does not do this thing, Hades will bring all of the court of his realm and make war. He has no choice. And even if Zeus and any loyal to him win, he will be too weakened to resist Poseidon, who could sell himself to either side. If Zeus does not do this thing, all of existence will burn. But worst of all, I know it is I who will have to sit with Leto as it happens, to be the shoulder on which she cries, to witness her howl, to prevent her from throwing away her life as well. But this must happen. We stand as one. He walks to the window. I walk to the door. We both look back at one another. When we see each other again, the world will be different. He goes to kill his grandson. I go to comfort later. The grandmother. Nothing will be the same. And I know he will come back changed. Not the boy I knew, the youth I fell in love with, nor the man I married. He will come back with that last part of him, gone. This will strip something important from him. He will come back as Zeus, the king, and nothing else. And as I straighten my back and stride, head up, shoulders back, as I reach Leto's door, I know the same will be true of me. I will leave this room, Hera the queen, nothing more.
I do not change to an eagle. I walk the skies in my godly form, and the clouds come to me again unbidden. As I float to his destination, it comes down. There is no thunder, there is no lightning, just the deluge I bring. The cattle hide beneath ledges and in woods. The mortals pick up their tools and rush to their homes, their hovels. The trees watch on, raising their arms to the life-giving downpour. And yet, through them, I can see. She is watching me. Gaia. They know. I can feel the attention of the very universe itself. Nyx must have spoken to her own kind. The first. The perpetuals. They witness this. For the winds now howl, nothing of my doing. All four are unleashed. The shadows crawl, the night is dimmed, the air is raw, with whispers I cannot hear, and I see him also. In one of the clouds, he still exists, though stripped of his power. Even he looks down on this, on me, my sire's sire. I descend slowly. I come down to float above the door, to a meager but joyous home. Asclepius feels me. He knows I am here. The door opens, and he walks out. He does not shield himself from the rain. He stands arms wide open, his face. He beams at me, as if to say, "Hello, grandfather." He waits for me to descend. I cannot. I raise my right hand over my head, and down comes a bolt of purest white lightning. It crackles around my hand and up my forearm. Asclepius confused, but still not scared. Why would he be? He is blood of my blood. I say the last words he will hear as a living, breathing godling. I am sorry, Asclepius, my grandson. You break laws that were writ before even I was born. You break the one law that can never be broken by any but the Lord of the Underworld. He's shocked for a moment. Then he smiles. A last belief that it was not so, some jape. But then he becomes placid. He looks down, then slowly nods, and looks up at me again. There is no hate. There is no rage. I understand. Do what you have to do, Your Highness. I accept your judgment. I extend my hand. The bolt flies, and thunder cascades over the skies. as a god, die.